Hey, and welcome to Beyond the Pouch, a podcast series brought to you by Pelican, Respond and Eakin, where your hosts, Rachel and Louise, dive into the world of ostomy through open and honest conversations, including the lives of many inspirational ostomates, so you can get to know them beyond the pouch.
Welcome back for another episode of Beyond the Pouch. If you haven't listened to the first few episodes already, go over to Spotify and YouTube and catch us over there. Today we have a very special guest with us. It's Jeremy Eakin, former CEO of Eakin Healthcare. Today we'll be discussing the history of Eakin, founded by Tom Eakin, and how it started as a family-owned business. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Nice to see you both again.
Thank you for being here.
Hi.
Hi.
So, fill us in on how it all started. Where did this all start?
Long time ago, as they say. It started, it's actually exactly 50 years this month. For the business, my father, well, it started before that actually. My father's a retired pharmacist. When I say he is a retired pharmacist, he's still alive and well. He's celebrating his 90th birthday this month.
Wow.
As well. So yeah, big month for the business, 50th anniversary and 90th birthday for Dad. But it started years ago. He's had his own pharmacy, retail pharmacy, in a place called Dundonald, which is a small suburb of Belfast. It's not a suburb, it was a small village all those thousands of years ago. And really, there were a couple of reasons that he got into this whole area of business. One was because during the 70s, people who wore a bag were changing from the old rubber reusable ones, the ones that you took off, emptied, washed out, put back on with a belt, and they were they're changing from those bags to the plastic disposable bags with built-in hydrocolloids or glue that we know of today. So people were coming into the shop, changing to these bags, and they were just experiencing all kinds of issues with like leakage and sore skin because obviously hydrocolloids were new. So he felt he could maybe try and do something to help these people. But I suppose the second reason and more important reason was there was somebody back at home as a close family member with a urostomy. And they were going through exactly all these things at the same time. So that was really the motivation. You probably need to know a little bit more about my father's personality and how he got into that kind of thing. Louise is a retail pharmacist. He just was always loved making things and doing things. So from one aspect, he was that old school pharmacist who would have made his own medicines and creams and mixed things at the back of the pharmacy. You guys are far too young to remember that. But then also, I could imagine that as a kid growing up, he was the sort of kid probably played with Meccano. So building things and doing things. So really how he got into it was trying to develop a pouch, a urostomy pouch, and then develop its own hydrocolloid or adhesive to make the pouch adhere to the skin. And then also from the Meccano kind of perspective, he was into making the machines that would then make these products. And that's really how it all started off. Right next door to the pharmacy was a small terrace house. And he bought the terrace house next door, and that became the first factory in 1973.
Wow.
So that's really how it all started off.
Gosh.
That was the motivation and the guy behind it all.
Incredible.
You know?
The hydrocolloid back then was really new, wasn't it? It was accidentally discovered by a dentist, if I remember
so
rightly from some history.
It was called Orabase. I think I could be wrong. I think it's recently discontinued. And then the first kind of variation of that was actually stoma adhesive paste. That was really, it came from Orabase, the as you say, I think it was like for mouth ulcers or things like that, because obviously the lining of the mouth is a moist environment, and you needed something to stick to a moist environment. So that was really the stoma pastes, but then the actual hydrocolloid sort of glue and sort of more gelatin-based things were also new, as far as I'm aware, at the time as well. I think before that, it was almost like rubber flanges on an elastic belt that almost just strapped the bags on. I know you can get belts now to hold bags in place for extra security, but in those days they were basically strapped on bags.
Yeah, which is just, can you imagine using that?
It's crazy to think about, because the amount of stuff that I've looked at, like the history of stoma bags and history of the stoma and everything else, to see how far bags have come, especially within the last 20 years, compared to what people were living with in the 60s, 70s, 80s. It's absolutely crazy.
It's phenomenal. And it's strange because in some way technology hasn't moved on. I mean, 50s, 60s, 70s, you were wearing a bag. It's 2023. still wearing a
using a
bag,
bag, yeah.
but actually the iterations of those and the features and within the products to try to make them more secure, more comfortable has come on a lot.
I think though, if you look at the bags in the 70s and the 80s, especially the first disposable bags, it kind of reminds me of obviously I shop at IKEA and we always get the sandwich bags from IKEA, and that is kind of what the first disposable Stoma bag looked like. It was literally, it just looks like a sandwich bag with a base plate attached to the back of it.
I can't imagine how uncomfortable that must have been. Wouldn't it be amazing if someone was alive now that we could go, what was that like?
Yeah.
How was your day-to-day life compared to now?
It's part of the reason why having a stoma is still so taboo, though. As you think, some of the research done, people were using, I mean, even now in third world countries, people are using carrier bags and
tin cans,
sellotape,
whatever they can find.
There are still people here in the UK, I would imagine, that are still wearing rubber bags. There are older people who use these and they're, they maybe had their stoma surgery 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
They got discharged from hospital wearing the bag. They get the prescription, whatever. Now they probably haven't seen a stoma nurse in 20 or 30 years, and they're still using the same thing. God. So there probably are still people out there. Yeah. Not many, but a few.
That's crazy to think, though, because wasn't it with the system that you used to use with the belts and the bag? Wasn't a lot of people were suffering with allergies? It was part of the reason. Wasn't it why people started having a look at different base plates and materials, because of the allergies that people were having with rubber and latex?
I think there was definitely issues with rubber and latex. There was the first iteration. I'm not sure whether it's classified as hydrocolloid. I should know this, or not. But similarity was Caraya gum. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of that. And it was like a Caraya was a natural ingredient from. It's a natural gum. And they were a little bit like shapes and size of seals, but they were like brown rings.
Yeah.
And they would have been used to stick, but people would have been allergic to Caraya. I think the other thing for people that were using the rubber bags with the belts and the rubber flanges was probably pressure sores as well. Oh, yeah. Because if you wear a belt, I mean, you guys know much more than me. Yeah. You're going to tighten the hell out of that belt to keep it really tight and secure. Yeah. But if this was like a rigid rubber kind of literally flange, it was called, that would be really digging in. Yeah. So I think there were allergies. I think there were pressure sores. There was all kinds of peristomal just challenges. Yeah. And stoma surgery as well. You can have potentially surgeries have really improved.
Yeah. I mean, so my little boy only had hit some more surgery 2 weeks ago, because surgery he had when he was born nearly 8 years ago has changed so much already in that time frame that he needed repairs done now. Yeah. And we're talking 8 years. So imagine going back to when your dad started doing his
60s,
thing.
70s.
I can't even imagine how that must have changed.
Yeah. The actual surgery and the actual anatomy of obviously forming an ileostomy or a colostomy or even a urostomy hasn't really changed in all that time. There's a different approach to how they do it, but it still hasn't overly changed. I mean, from how they form a urostomy to how they form an ileostomy, it's still pretty basic. And it's probably the case of if it's not broke, then don't fix it.
And that's the advice they gave to me as a parent to a child with stoma is, if everything's working fine, they've got a good quality of life, don't mess with it, because you can do more harm than good.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I use seals. I've always been a big advocate for seals because my stoma site's a bit weird with dips and lumps. So how did the seals come about? Because I know, obviously, Eakin Cohesive Slims were one of the first.
There's the small, thick seals, and then there's the larger sort of 10 centimetre diameter, thinner seals, and they were the original ones. Whether I will tell you the correct story or not, this is my version of the story. Whether Dad would give you exactly the same story or not, I'm not sure, but he's not here, so you can hear mine. And really, so he was developing the urostomy pouch and he needed an adhesive. So actually, cohesive was his attempt at an adhesive to make the bag stick to the skin. Oh. So in actual fact, he does, even though he was kind of great at developing products, and hopefully he won't listen to this because I'm about to be a bit critical of him, he tends to overcomplicate things sometimes. So the urostomy pouch itself was uber complicated and complex, but it had the cohesive, which is now the seals, as the hydrocolloid on the pouch. And people who tried the bags were kind of going, okay, bags, all right. But the adhesive is so skin friendly, and compared to the other adhesives that were out there, these kind of gelatin, pectin based, less moldable ones, this was really, really skin friendly. But because of the texture and the nature of seals, they're soft and moldable. And if you have that as your hydrocolloid in the bag, obviously it kind of spreads a little bit and moves about. Yeah. So where that, let's call it texture of adhesive, doesn't necessarily work to be the base hydrocolloid on the pouch, it was really great for moulding around the stoma to prevent leaks and create an extra layer of protection before putting the bag on top. So he took this adhesive that he developed and just cut it into circles, into donut shapes. Yeah. And those were the first real seals. That would have been, the company started, as I said, in 1973, 74, 75. He'd converted the house into a factory, and he didn't sell one product before 1979. It took 4 or 5 years. Sold a few bags, but it was really the sort of 79, 80, 81 before we really came to the conclusion that the seals should be a separate product in their own right. Yeah. And again, there was nothing like that at the time. There was only the pastes that we talked about earlier, and they contained alcohol, so they stung when you put them on red, excoriated skin, whereas the seals were really, really friendly. So it was that original hydrocolloid that was cohesive that became the seals, and that's how they were developed. So we just had, he was very much at that stage then a business making one product, just the seals. And where he was very into developing product and manufacturing product, he wasn't really interested in the sort of commercial side of selling it. So he sold it to one company in the UK here, from Northern Ireland. They're based in Northern Ireland, and they really started to develop the sales for those products right up until sort of early 1990s, and there's a bit of growth in the business after that, you know. So that's how the original seal was developed. We've had other iterations since then, which we can go on and talk about.
It's not changed since that kind of first.
No. The original recipe for cohesive is still exactly the same formulation and recipe that we have today, 50 years later.
Yeah. When did Eakin first develop the disposable bags? Because that was another game changer.
So you mean the Pelican bags? Are you talking? So originally, my father started off making a urostomy bag. In reality, they kind of petered out, and it just became a seal company. That's at the start you talked about Eakin and Pelican and Respond. The original company was Eakin, based out of Northern Ireland. And so really for many years it was effectively a one product company. It was just the seals. But as we then grew and expanded and started to sell our seals internationally, and they got a quite a good reputation, you know, then there was kind of the pressure
like 80% of the seals that were being sold were Eakin seals at the time.
Well, originally they'd have been 100%, because, you know, we invented the seals. So, you know, so they were the only seals out there. As more and more of the other stoma supply companies came up with their own seals, obviously they joined the market as well. So the proportion reduces. But we still like to pride ourselves as being kind of the original and the best. So we've added new seals like the free seal to the range more recently. But to your point just about the bags, we were very much just a seal company.
Yeah.
And we were very lucky. We worked closely with stoma nurses and with product users like yourselves, and really developed a very positive reputation for the quality of the product, to the extent that very often we'd be asked, well, why do you just make seals? Why do you not make bags? And just around about the same time, a small company in Cardiff called Pelican Healthcare, which really focused only on making bags, and were actually, I think, one of the first companies to make soft convex pouches. Was available and was on the market, and we bought that. So that's when Eakin and Pelican became part of this Eakin Healthcare business. And then obviously you're talking about how you get your prescriptions and things like that. Respond is obviously our award-winning customer delivery service.
You joined with Pelican, wasn't it, in 2007?
2007, 2008, yeah.
It was like 2 years before my stoma surgery. I'm a geek, I'm a nerd.
She's clever.
Yeah.
No, I'm just a nerd.
When you were growing up, obviously seeing your dad start to evolve with all this and make headway, when did you, Jeremy, decide, right, I want a piece of this?
1992. See, I know that date. I did a uni degree in business studies, and actually went to work for an aircraft manufacturer in Belfast. It made wings for airplanes. And after seeing them making those wings, don't fly on a Fokker 100 aircraft. I don't think they make them anymore. Anyway, that's a whole different podcast. Yeah, I got a job in there. Absolutely hated it. Couldn't wait to get out of it. And at that time, unemployment was fairly high. It was hard to get a job. And Dad was thinking of starting to expand the business internationally. And the module in my course that I really loved the thought of was international trade. So I kind of went, Dad, I could do that.
Yeah.
And so that I started, I mean, it was literally only myself and him in the office at the time, and one other lady that was bookkeeper. So it was just the three of us. And I joined in 92 and started to sell. It was just the seals in those days internationally. Before that, they were only available in the UK and Ireland.
Yeah.
So my job was then to kind of find distributors internationally and start to do that. So yeah, 1992.
Gosh, and for you to see that to now where you are today, that's huge.
It is. It's great. It's great.
What a legacy.
I know I'm very proud of what we've done, but down to just a brilliant team of people. We've been so lucky, the team we've got working with us.
I was going to say, so if you were to ever face having stoma surgery, would you have preferred to have had it back then, or would you prefer to have it now? If that were to happen, not that it will, just.
Oh, good question. There's bound to be a right answer to this question.
There is no right or wrong answer, really.
I think there's pros and cons. I think in terms of what's available, in terms of products, in terms of support, the home delivery companies now respond.
Yeah.
They're great. You can get your products just like that. They've got great customer service teams. You can call in a stoma nurse at any time. That reassurance is there. Yeah. I think the other thing that's great at the moment is the work that you guys are doing, the being out there. It's you guys are really knocking down barriers in terms of trying to get rid of that taboo. So I think that from that perspective, it would be the answer is now. I feel a little bit sorry for our colleagues that are working in the NHS at the moment. We all know the state of the NHS, and that impacts not the care that the stoma nurses give. They still do an absolutely phenomenal job, but the conditions that they're working under. And I think, back in the 70s, I'm going to guess you didn't get your stoma one day and get thrown out of hospital 3 or 4 days later. No. I bet the stays in the hospital give you that little bit of extra time to recover and become aware. So I think from the healthcare system, and it's no disrespect to anybody working in it at the moment, I think that was maybe slightly better, but actually with the technology and the advances and the customer service and products and everything, I think definitely today. Don't underestimate what you guys are doing. You're change leaders. And I don't mean bag changing. The fact that you are they're a bunch of gigglers. The fact that your social media presence, that is breaking down boundaries for most people with a stoma at the moment are not flashing their bags on social media.
Yeah, but I think
by you doing that, you're breaking down taboos that so many people with stomas are hidden away. We hear stories of people that haven't left the house in 20 years.
Yeah, see that. That's
horrible. That was heartbreaking. The survey, 4% of people.
Yeah.
So the fact that you guys are out there, as I say, proud, just saying it as it is, talking about the challenges, but also talking about life goes on and it's okay.
Yeah.
Is phenomenal, and that is changing it for generations of people to come. Do not underestimate the good you guys are doing.
No.
Because I genuinely mean that. Because that makes such a difference. Making it acceptable is probably the wrong term, but I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's not something you need to hide.
No, but at the same time, it's because of companies like yours and the people and companies that you've chose to work with that are more patient-centric, that want to listen to the patients and help the patients rather than profit margins. Is obviously all companies have got the profit, but coming across Pelican and Respond and Eakin as ambassadors, if another company come to us, we wouldn't go with another company.
Well, we've both had that, haven't we? We have, and there's a reason why we don't go is because of what you do, what you give us.
There's a lot of love and mutual admiration in this room, isn't there? Yeah.
But it's so true though. I mean, things with like the free seal and being in the free seal, so a thinner version of the cohesive, or even such as with the Moda V with the Pelican bags.
Oh yeah.
With that being so patient-led, with the whole R&D and the process of from the bag being thought about to the concept of it actually being made, it's been patient-centric rather than company-centric.
But that's just the DNA of who we are. If you go right the way back to the start of our conversation, this business was started to help one person and a group of customers. That we knew their names. They come in, they weren't just anonymous faces.
Oh, but we get them through Respond, don't we?
Like that is at the core of everything we do. We were formed and grew on the basis of our closeness to the people that use our products.
Yeah.
And that's something that just absolutely stays dear to our hearts. And just bragging a little bit here. Even this morning, Rachel, you and I were at an event just to open up our new UK warehouse. And we had all our staff from our Cardiff site there. And I mean, it wasn't all about business strategy and it wasn't all about what's going on. That was just reminding our colleagues of what we're all about and what we're doing and who it's for.
And the warmth that was in that.
So
it was a factory, a massive factory, but the warmth that was in that.
It's like a family and a support system, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But it's just making sure and that you guys you guys drive us. You motivate us, and it's without you guys we don't exist.
But
for us to get better, but for us to get better and continue to thrive and improve, we need to get even closer to you, and we need to get even closer to the stoma nurses here supporting you and using our products. As I said before, we provide the tools. The stoma nurses effectively use those tools to support you. If we make the wrong tool set, it's no use.
Well, it's like so when you did the R&D for the Moda V, has there been another bag that's had that much patient involvement in such early stages? Not that I know of. I might be wrong.
I can't speak for other companies, but
it was incredible.
Was right the way back to basics. We looked at every single aspect.
I mean,
was
it start a lockdown when I can't remember.
It was because the whole launch was done during lockdown.
Yeah, and it was, and we had to we were testing the product and we were giving our true views and that, and I must have cried in half them videos.
I had an ear infection. There's a video of me wearing a hat with tissue stuffed in my ear because I suffer with lockjaw and my jaw had gone and my ear had gone, and there's videos of me going to the R&D team.
But no, and I remember using the Moda V, and I'd used other bags before, and just the comfort, the feel of the fabric, it was really emotional, and I literally cried on camera, and I wasn't going to send it, and then I thought actually maybe they might want to see this to realise just how important and impactful their work is, because it's like this morning at the event, you very kindly invited my son to come and open your new factory, and we were all crying, and it was wonderful. But you just want to go up to every single person and go, thank you. Do you realise what you're doing? Do you have any idea? Because I mean, I don't think they do.
But we all get checked. We all get checked on. I mean, I'm not well at the moment. You're pregnant, and we still get WhatsApp messages and emails. Are you okay? How are you doing? Are you sure you're okay? It's not just about the work. Okay, yes, we do bits and pieces for the work-wise, but we still get checked on. It's not all about, what are you doing on social media? How are you feeling? It's such a nice feeling to have, and it has been that way for me for like the last...
How many years have you been involved with this lot? How many years? You're the OG, aren't you?
I am the OG. 2017. So when the vitamin E first come out.
I was going to say, even that was 2 years after we started developing Moda V.
Yeah.
So you might have tried it during lockdown, but we did put a lot of back to basics work into that one. So
we were just talking about seals. We both use Free Seal.
Yes. I I still use a mixture of the Free Seal though and the Cohesive Slim, just because of Buddy the cyst and time of the month, my skin decides to go in a lot more, so I need a bit more of a wedge.
Okay.
And then I use the Free Seal for the other 3 weeks of the month.
Yeah. So.
Oh, you use a whole cocktail then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did the idea of Free Seal come from? How did that develop from your first ones to this one?
So, yeah, the concept of how the cohesive seal worked was, again, I told you earlier on, this is the same formulation that's been around for 40, 50 years. And the way that works, it's like a sacrificial material. It breaks down. So actually what the way the original cohesive seal was meant to work, sorry to get a little bit technical here, you can all start to glaze over and fall asleep. In the event that stoma output comes in contact with your skin, it's a little bit like nappy rash for if those people that don't have a stoma, and it just literally burns away at the skin. So what happens is that the seal is there, and it's designed so that if there's any element of leakage or stoma output, it actually starts to attack the seal instead of the skin. And you can actually see if you wear a cohesive seal and you have a little bit of output from your stoma, if you take the bag off, that seal will actually have eroded away. And it leaves a bit of a residue. So it was working by protecting the skin by almost sacrificing itself to erode away. Some of the more modern competitor seals were more like gelatin or pectin based, and they acted a little bit more just like a washer and a tap.
Yes.
So that they literally just said, okay, we're plugging a leak here. So we felt that actually we needed to give people a choice. So where cohesive was breaking down and effectively sacrificing itself, the Free Seal formulation is one, it's more integrated. It stays intact, but it still has that real skin-friendly formulation of the cohesive. So it's kind of almost a hybrid of the two. And that's where that's come about. And it's quite a recent development.
I have to say, though, the magic of the seals, so I have high output. My output is like liquid. So when it's like liquid, because of the rate that it's coming out, before I used to use the Free Seals, my output actually used to eat away at the seal on the base plate. So I used to get leaks because the hydrocolloid on the base plate used to get eaten by my output. So sore skin.
Exactly. And look, that's a question that we would get asked all the time. You know, how long is my wear time with this bag? If I use a seal, how much wear time will I get?
Yeah.
There's no right answer to that. It's different from every single person. It depends on your output. But what we've always said is like a seal will help to prevent leaks and extend the wear time. Yeah. So for example, somebody might get 3 or 4 days out of a pouch. With a seal, they might get 5-6 days out of a pouch. Somebody that only gets 2 hours out of a pouch, with a seal, they might get 4 hours. You know, those are the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Could you imagine having to change every 2 hours?
5 or 6.
There are people who have to change their bags 4, 5, 6 times a day, depending on their output. You know, I've met all kinds of people from different countries.
Is that more
over
from
the years?
The colostomy side of things, though? Obviously, with regards to the clothes.
Colostomy will probably be a lighter seal user. It's further up the digestive system, so a jejunostomy or something like that, where you've got really liquid output and really quite aggressive stoma output. So that would effectively burn your skin.
I mean, that's what I used to do with Jake. So he used to lose 4 litres of stool a day from his ileostomy. And again, I didn't know seals existed.
Yeah.
I did not know they were there. And, you know, his skin was awful.
I was going to say, so someone with that level of output and probably very liquid output.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's where your skin's going to be very, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. You guys know more about that than I do, but
it's just obviously when discovering the seals, going from having to change a bag every 24 hours to then changing every 5 to 6 days was a game changer for me.
Your bag lasts you 5 to 6 days?
It did. And then Buddy the cyst came along and decided that it didn't want to do 5 days. So I average a bag change every other day now.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes daily, it just depends, just because I keep getting the blockages.
So what would it look like when you took it off after 5 to 6 days? Would it be completely like eaten away, like
something
out of Alien?
You know, if the seal's gone, she starts to get a bit itchy.
Oh yeah, the itch. Ooh.
And that's the question: how do you know when to change your bag? If you start to get that tingle, that itch, that burn, that's when you need to change.
That's where confidence is king.
Exactly, and that's where you've got to really build that confidence in your product. And I suppose you guys can educate me much more.
But that's
in terms of how you develop that.
Yeah, but this is where you guys having a great R&D team and being patient-led really helps us to be able to advise other people as ambassadors.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have faith in a product, then if you're not putting across that faith, then somebody else is not necessarily going to have that faith in that. And it really is a case of trial and error and learning to trust what you're using.
Well, every time you put that bag on, you are putting your trust in that product, that it's going to work. You're not going to be in a situation where you've got poo all down you. You're not going to be embarrassed. You're not going to be vulnerable. And let's face it, it might happen now and then. You covered your dog in it. What did you do last night?
So I knew I shouldn't have eaten it. I've got an issue with food and causing blockages at the moment because the cyst keeps pushing my intestines in and causing a blockage. So I ate raw carrot last night. Might have had some cucumber.
Oh, you rebel!
Might have had a bit of steak. So when I woke up this morning and I put my hand down and went, oh
God, yeah.
And then
trigger warning.
Ben might have accidentally got a little bit on it, and then Ruby was like, "Mummy!" and the dog jumped on the bed, and of course with both hands, and we've touched the dog. So I was actually having a shower with my dog at 7:30 this morning to wash
safely say I've never heard of anybody showering with their dog before.
No, let the people
still struggling to get over that one. Yeah, we'll pause for a moment, will we?
For those of you, if you follow my Instagram stories, my puppy has gone from being apricot coloured to champagne coloured as she's grown into her adult coat.
Different colour this morning.
So yeah, she was definitely. It was a hint of steak colour and.
Oh God!
So yeah, showering with the dog at 7:30 this morning, living the dream.
I was going to say lucky dog, but that just sounds wrong.
But this is the thing, and we have to post about the realities of Stoma Life. But the problem is with things like leaks, it's people are always so forward to blame the product when 9 times out of 10, it's not the product's fault. It's what the patient's doing.
Oh, yeah. You knew yourself. Why did you go rogue and eat a carrot? Why did you do that? And it's a carrot. It wasn't chocolate. Why did you? Yeah. Why did you risk yourself with a carrot? What was it about that carrot?
Because it was tasty.
Carrots aren't tasty. What does a carrot? What are you doing to your carrots that I'm not?
When it's with steak and it's in a wrap with a bit of satay sauce.
Oh no.
Okay, I might be a wrong one.
No comment.
But no, I think a lot of us with stomas can relate to that, where you're going along your day, living your life, and all of a sudden you feel like you've wet yourself. I don't know if you don't have to answer that. But anyway.
Not sober.
And you know that moment where you're like, I need to put my hand there to check, but when you put your hand there, you're going to touch poo. And you're like, oh, and you put it off, and then you touch, and you're like, no!
Oh, do you know what?
I hate that.
Touch wood, I'm so lucky. In general, like out and about and out in public or going out for an evening or even staying out for night, 9 times out of 10, I trust what I'm using. I don't have an issue. It tends to be I've caused the issue with regards to things coming off, my output pancake, so it pushes my bag off. It's my fault. I should have dropped more water before I went to bed.
I mean, if you're an OG, you should really know better. Like, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, but there's a point in time where you just get to, it's going to happen.
Well, so it happened to me. I don't even have a leak once a month. It's very rare now, but the other day it did because I lost the seals. I did not have a seal. We're having worked in the house. I didn't know where they were. And I thought, it was late. I couldn't get a delivery the next day. But fair play to you lot.
I was going to say, I hope your phone respond.
I did.
Did you get your seals?
Spoke to the lovely James, and I've already embarrassed him once on this podcast, and I didn't even think he listened to it, but he does, so I'm going to do it again. Hello, James. And he got it to me within 24 hours. He got a delivery. What a guy. And it was all because I didn't use that seal, and I was working away on my laptop, and I felt that warm, non-comforting feeling running down my legs. And it had happened, and I had leaked, and I got up to my other half, and I was like, he was talking to me, and I thought, has he not realised there is a massive patch of poo through my dungarees? And then I went, hello, and he looked at me.
Oh, denim's the worst as well.
Yeah, and that's when you do the walk of shame up the stairs, and all because I couldn't get my hands on a seal. But no, James fixed it.
Well, hopefully we came to the rescue with the seal and the Respond.
You did.
The correct response from Respond. But look, there you guys are doing it again. You know, just by talking about leakage, it's a thing that happens. I don't want to use the word normalizing, but you're making it. It's a reality. It happens. Talking about it, it's okay.
People poo themselves, don't they? Humans without stomas have accidents.
Yeah.
No one who can say they've got through life without pooing themselves for some reason. Yeah. And it's just in a different place, in a different way.
Yeah, I suppose.
It was that dodgy prawn I had a few years ago. We'll not talk about that now.
As I say, on the note of dodgy prawns, the growth and the success of Eakin, I mean, how do you feel that is now compared to then, or has using ambassadors and obviously becoming part of Eakin, Pelican and Respond? Yeah. Is that all helping the growth and the business as a whole?
Oh, yeah, undoubtedly. And look, you know, we've gone through a process of bringing our businesses together, so Eakin and Pelican and Respond under this the Eakin Healthcare name. And look, we're very lucky and we're very proud that it's operating in, you know, sort of 50, 60 countries around the world now. And it has been successful because of our relationship with you. Our relationship with the stoma nurses. We really believe in partnerships. In fact, our strapline underneath the Eakin Healthcare logo is working together, improving lives.
Yeah.
And that working together is not just our teams working together inside the business. It's us working with our suppliers. It's us working with stoma nurses. It's us working with you guys. It's ambassadors working with us. You know, this works if there's a team effort. And you need hospitals talk about multidisciplinary teams. It's exactly the same in our business. Yeah. We need to have representatives of suppliers, manufacturers, product users, stoma nurses, all working together, really understanding each other's world to make sure that we get it right. Yeah. And it also, you know what? It makes it a fantastic job. No, it really does. It's, you know, we're not just selling mugs or car tires or something like that. It's something where you really see that human side. You talked about our team in Cardiff this morning meeting Jake. He was absolutely the star. How loud was the round of applause he got from our colleagues?
Me and my mother were estate.
It was just brilliant. That is what makes everything we do worthwhile. Meeting you, meeting Jake. You know, even though he does support Man United.
He's got time to change. He's only young.
You know, that's what makes us work successfully together. It's teamwork. And as I said, our strapline, working together and improving lives is just how we succeed. And it's very exciting. You know, we've just invested an awful lot in R&D. And we're really lucky. We've just got support from the Northern Ireland government to give us a grant for an ostomy centre of excellence for our R&D.
Wow.
So that'll really help us to work again even closer with you guys, to learn about hydrocolloids, about bags, about how the digital world will impact that, for example, all these kind of futuristic things.
So where do you see the future in stoma care?
I don't have a crystal ball.
Oh, but if you did.
I knew. You know, whenever I started in the business 30 years ago, there was all the talk about, stomas won't exist in X number of years' time. Stomas are going to exist for a good long time.
Oh, well, that was a lie.
You know, because the stoma is not a condition in itself. No. The stoma is really a solution to a lot of chronic conditions. And actually the stoma, even though they don't behave sometimes, really facilitates people to be able to live their lives. So I think for a multitude of conditions that, you know, you and your other guests, sort of Philippa, Mo, Ant, you know, all will have sort of potentially different reasons for having a stoma.
Yeah.
Those reasons may change, but I think a stoma is going to be around for a long time. So, and I don't actually see the technology changing in terms of, you know, you've got a stoma that doesn't have a muscle, so you're going to need a bag to collect the output.
Yeah.
That fundamental is going to be around for quite a while. But how the products, how the service, how everything is enhanced in the future should hopefully continue to improve.
Yeah. I mean, I think realistically, with the kind of products that we have available now, Stoma Life now compared to what Stoma Life was in the 70s when people started looking at making disposable bags and trying to get rid of the rubber bags, things have come such a long way in such a short period of time. And obviously being part of the community that we're part of, I know with regards to them trying to do continence donors and metal meshes and things like that, for the majority of us, it's not an option because of autoimmune issues, rejection issues. Ultimately, the stoma for the majority of us is the best course of action to have a better quality of life.
Yeah.
And look, I'm sorry to keep banging on about this. I think one of the biggest changes in recent years, and which is going to happen, is you guys. You know, you guys are going to make it, let's call it acceptable.
It still astounds me that you guys trust us.
No.
Even doing this, what are you thinking?
I'm kind of, when I say you, I mean you in general. Probably not specifically you two guys.
Wow.
But yeah.
A bit of shade right there.
It's all right,
But just, just that, social media, being able to talk about it so people don't feel they have to hide. It's okay to be on the beach with your stoma bag out. It's okay to go on the bus knowing it might leak or whatever. That giving people that extra layer of confidence to be able to leave the house, to try and lead a normal life out and about, I think is really one of the biggest transformations that I've seen in the last 5-6 years.
It has literally been that period of time.
It has been. And I mean, I look, you guys will know all the influencers better than me because I'm an old man, but, there probably used to be one or two.
Yeah, but I think it's important as well to note that if someone's listening or watching this and doesn't have that confidence yet, that's okay as well.
Yeah.
It will come, whether it takes you a couple of months, couple of years. You do need to do it when it feels right for you and in your own time. But hopefully what we're doing
will be helping them to develop that confidence. Yeah. So I actually think, going back to your original question, sorry, I've waffled for about 10 minutes, but your original question of what's really changing, I think that's one of the biggest transformations is what Instagram, TikTok, whatever else is coming next in social media, what that is doing to help people, I think is phenomenal.
Okay, so we'd like to say massive thank you to Jeremy for talking to us crazy people.
Thank you.
Listen, it's been a blast. And
no, thank you so much.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, exactly. No, but thanks so much for giving us the opportunity, and I really appreciate what you and everybody else is doing.
It's amazing. Thank you. So we'd like to say thank you to everybody for listening to Beyond the Pouch. We hope you have enjoyed listening, and we hope you've learned a lot about the history of Eakin and the history of stomas in general, and we will see you next time.